Good evening, everyone. Let us pray. Most righteous and eternal God, as we gather here today to widen our knowledge on this a very controversial and broad topic of interest to everyone in this country, Heavenly Father, I pray that the knowledge shared will be taken into consideration. I pray that each and everyone gathered here today will understand, and if there are any persons through this medium, this amen.
Molly. Perhaps the common denominator at party scenes across Jamaica today. Users say entertain, but officials warn that when it enters, it taints. The National Council on Drug Abuse calls it a worrying trend for Jamaican youth, but the youth in question say why worry? Molly, as they see it and believe it to be, is an escape. They say it piques an interest, fills an abyss of longing, quenches the thirst of curiosity. But does it really? This is Molly Predicament. We begin with the experience of a 24-year-old man who, despite the warnings of officials, continues to use the drug that is known to alter mood and perception.
I was first introduced to ecstasy / Molly about maybe a year or two ago. That's when I first started. The reason that really compelled me to try is not really say compelled. It was more of curiosity. I was more curious of what the reaction was like. You know, I just wanted to feel the high that I've always seen on TV. I don't regret trying it. Obviously, I'm sorry. I still love doing ecstasy. It's like the best feeling ever.
A year or two ago, he says of his relationship with the drug, a bit of uncertainty. But what he knows for sure is that it won't end anytime soon.
The liking that I have for it would be the high that it gives. It doesn't really give you a bad after feeling once it's, what should I say, once I no longer feel it. Unlike weed and them thing, it leaves a bad.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Are you hearing me?
Loud and
Okay.
clear, Miss Wright.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening there, Miss Gordon. As you're here, and we are here for this symposium to talk about drug abuse, which has become a big talk, especially in the Jamaican context, and mostly among our young people. Even before, I go to my presentation, when you hear the term drug abuse, what are some of the things that comes to your mind? You can utilize your chat and so forth. What are some of the things, that comes to your mind when you hear the term drug abuse? Anybody? All right, so overuse of marijuana. I'm seeing there typing in the chat, overuse of marijuana. Anybody else? We want to have, a great evening, not just me alone. Incorrect use of substances. Okay, keep them coming. Using drug in excess. Yes. All right. So, yes. And the operative word overdosing of medication. Yes. And, the operative word, that most people use just know it's overuse, because we know that all drugs are a substance. But when we talk about substance abuse, yes, I see somebody say misuse of drugs. So when we talk about substance abuse, it is overuse, misuse of any drug at all. And that brings us to the question, what is drug abuse? Can you bring up the next slide? Thank you. So it says the use of illegal drugs or the use of prescription or over-the-counter drugs or alcohol for purposes other than those for which they are meant to be used or in excessive amount. So it is basically saying what you just said. Substance abuse, it is a common problem in our society that we cannot turn a blind eye to. It needs to be dealt with. The term substance abuse, it is normally used interchangeably. You hear sometimes people say drug abuse and substance abuse. They're basically talking about the same things. But when it comes on to substance abuse, it is something different. It is different. So, very often people take substances, for example, like household cleaners, things that they use to clean the house, or even chemicals. Forgive the sound, I live near to the road, forgive the sound. Or chemicals, and they ingest them or they huff them. Now let us think about, sometimes when you go to the gas station and you smell the gas. It smell. Some people don't like it. Some people just love the smell of it. When you go into the places that sell the different chemicals, it gives a different feeling. So when people misuse it, and I see somebody there saying that they like how the gas smell. So an abuse of that would be you using it um for the purpose that it was not created for. Because gas or chemical, it was not created to be inhaled, or it was not used to create a high. So when you use it for those reasons, then it becomes drug abuse. So people huff gasoline or chemical, they do it because they want to get high. They want to have that, they talk about that feeling. I don't really know what I'm feeling, but I've never really tried it, so I don't know. And I'm not encouraging anybody to try it. But people do these things because they want to get high. So somebody using a substance that is not intended for the purpose it was created, but instead to catch a buzz, or in Jamaican terminology, we would say to catch a high. Substance abuse can occur when somebody uses it just on the weekend, or they use it a couple of times per month. So they are not constantly using the drugs. They are not dependent on the drugs, but they are using it in an abusive way. So whether they use it once per day, twice per week, or once for the month, the fact that they are using it, other, for some, they depend on it. They depend on it to get that feeling, to get them through some difficult situation. That is when it becomes an abuse. So, I don't recommend us, going to get a jug of gasoline or some bleach and smell it or sniff it or something of the sort. But whenever people do these things, to feel good or something, and we look at some of the causes, and then you will understand more what I am talking about. Abuse come to their own bodies. They are ingesting something into their bodies that cause physical or mental harm to them. Now, when people abuse these different substances, this is what it harms them. As we say, it harms them physically because it can cause damage to the brain, to the lungs. And if we had the time, we would look at some, of the effects, the impact that it has, especially on the body and so forth. It causes emotional problems. It causes also problems on your in your work, your even at home, in relationships and so forth. So that is what we talk about, just a little on what exactly is substance abuse. So I hope we get, really get what is substance abuse. Misuse, overuse, using in excess any drugs, any illegal substance. And we're going to go down, to look at the different substance abuse. Now, I like how you're participating, and you shouldn't put it up yet, Take it down, please. Thank you so much. I wanted, the audience to participate, to actually tell me some of the substance that people abuse. It's a popular topic. Let us hear them. Some of the substance. Yes. Okay. So, or you want me to do it now or save it until after? We have a little question there to see the first person, that can type it in. Okay. Because I see Miss Patsy is ready, with her fingers there, giving giving us the answers. All right. So let us go back to look, at the different types of substance abuse. So we have prescription medicine, alcohol. I saw somebody typed it. Marijuana, cocaine, ecstasy, or Molly. The same thing, we hear. And, in the Jamaican context, one of the reasons why I think, there is this widespread, there is this trend now, of people, using these substances. It's because of the entertainers, because these things, people singing about them, so young people, they are drawn to all of that thing because we hear the songs about the Mali. And when we think about marijuana, most of the celebrity people, they smoke marijuana, they drink alcohol. So, people wanting to be a part of, a certain crowd, they want to feel. And when we get down to the causes, I think I'm running ahead of myself. When they want to, to feel a certain way, then they use these drugs. So we know the Mali, the ecstasy pill, it's a big thing in Jamaica now, and we need to be, educated about it. Some years ago, the popular thing was heroin, cocaine, where, A lot of people were using it and the different reason why they use it. We will get there. So let us look a bit at alcohol. He said alcohol affects everybody differently. It is not going to have the same effect on all of us. Some people might can drink, a 6 pack or some vodka mixed with Red Bull or so forth. We saw the news the other day with this young lady. She drank 21 glasses, some alcohol she was drinking to celebrate. And we saw what happened to her after that. So it will have a different impact on our body. And some of the time I normally tell my students that, we don't know what is inside of us. We don't know so much about our genetics makeup. So, we cannot do everything that we see people do and expect that it's going to have the same impact on us. So we can say, oh, but that person and those persons are doing it. So nothing no wrong if I do it. Whatever we do, it affects our body different because we are made up differently. If you drink too much or too often, your chances of an injury or accident goes up. Heavy drinking can cause liver and other health problems or lead to more serious alcohol disorder. And that is, alcohol abuse. We know it causes problem to the liver, and it also causes, problem among family. I have heard of, marriages torn apart because of alcohol, and the effects are so much when it comes on to abusing alcohol. Next, we are going to look at prescription medicines. These can be as dangerous and addictive as illegal drugs. So you can abuse medicine. We talk about, prescription medicine. Take prescription medicine, the medicine that is prescribed for somebody else. Because, that person probably had a prescription, had an issue dealing with, and the doctor prescribed it, but they become hooked to that prescription and they feel that they cannot do without it. So they probably find somebody that they become addicted. So they probably find somebody who has a prescription, for that drug, and they will try to get it from the person, so they become addicted to it. So they probably take an extra dose or they use it other than the way it is supposed to be used. So when a person takes a prescription medication or medicine that is not prescribed for them, that is when, they are overusing the drug. When they go and illegally get somebody to fill the prescription for them because they think that they need it to deal with this problem, then it becomes abuse. Heroin. Heroin gives you a rush. This is what it does. It gives a rush, a good feeling at first. And notice the word there, it says at first. But when it wears off, everything slows down. When people, take the heroin, when they are in the moment, in the high, they feel good and all of that. But when it wears off, everything comes back to normal. That is when, they feel the effects on the body. You'll move and think more slowly, and you may have chill, nausea, and nervousness. You may feel a strong need to take more heroin. And that is, how addiction and abuse comes. The more people use these things, the more they rely on it, the more they feel that they can't do without it, and they feel that they must continue to use it. So, I think we all, drug abuse, substance abuse, it needs to be everybody's problem. It might not be our problem at the moment, but we need to be educated about the effects and of these drugs so that we can help somebody. We're living in a changing world, and a lot of people are going through so many things, And people, they normally depend on these substance, to numb them so that they don't, feel the situation. But it does not really do that because it is just a quick fix. Because as soon as that drug it wears off, then they are back to reality and the problem is there. So we have to think about the coping strategies to help people deal with the different problems that they are going through. So we will look. So somebody says they try to escape reality. So we look now at the causes of substance abuse. So I hope you are remembering these things. First we look at what is drug abuse. We looked at the different types of drug abuse, and now we're going to look at it. What really causes people to use drugs? What really causes them to overuse drugs? What really causes them to misuse drugs? The cause of substance abuse, it is still unknown. There is no ideal, there's no definite reason to say that this is the number one reason that somebody abuse different substances. So they're saying, a researcher here is saying genetics are thought to account for 40 to 60% of persons who use drugs. So they are saying that, a person's makeup, how your body makeup, and I think just they still don't have the answer, but it's just a thought. Substance use often start as a way to feel good. Sorry. I am sorry about that. The cause of substance abuse is still unknown. Though genetics are thought to account for 40 to 60% of a person's risk, substance use often starts as a way to feel good or sometimes out of curiosity. In childhood or adolescence, it starts this way. People curious, they want to try. They want to try out something. Somebody says experiment. Yes, they want to experiment. They want to try out. They want to, people telling them that this is how I feel when I do this. So they want to go and try to actually prove it. And another person there is saying peer pressure. So these are the different causes why people use drug abuse. So repeated use of substance and increased tolerance, it paves the way for drug abuse. So, they have this thing. I don't know if we know this. You're probably all too young for this. But there was a commercial on the TV when I was younger with the bun and cheese, the Easter bun something. And, they sent Boise to buy bun for Easter. And he went there, and he bought the bun and he was coming home. Bun smelled good. And he pull it out to see and take a little smell. When he smell it, it smells so nice. And when it leads from a smell, he try to taste a little piece. And when he tasted a little piece of it, it tastes good. And he go and he say, boy, he decide to try it again. And he take another piece. And the commercial continues and he say, from one piece to another piece until it's done. So this is how it goes with substance abuse. People try out these things for different reasons, whether curiosity, whether peer pressure, whether experiment. But when they start and they continue, they become hooked after a while. And especially if they are dealing with different situations at the same time. So, and some of the situations, that leads to drug abuse, we have a history of addiction in the family and so forth. We have people having sleep problems. So, they might get some sleeping pills and, those things are prescribed for a while. Probably they're going through a traumatic situation. Those things, are there and they continue to depend on the thing until they become hooked. They can't do without it. financial difficulties, divorce or the loss of a loved one, and the list goes on and on. So we talk about depression and mental health, substance abuse and mental health, such as depression, goes hand in hand. Because most times, when people are depressed, when they have a mental illness, they turn to some substance to numb whatever they are feeling. Young people who are depressed and suicidal often self medicate with drug abuse, increasing their risk of an addiction. And I see there somebody saying anxiety. I think I have gone over my time, but I just want to look at this last one here that talks about, self esteem. When we talk, we are living in a world that we depend so much on the media. And whether we believe it or not, these things can negatively impact us as well as it positive. And you might ask the question, so how is it me on social media, WhatsApp and that? How is that going to, help cause me to abuse drugs? Let's look at it. Because, of what the media portrays, let's look at, for example, body image and, the whole social image and so forth. Images are top priority for especially girls, because girls want to fit in. They want to fit in. They compare themselves, as somebody says there. They associate weight loss and beauty with popularity. They think if they're slim and trim and, they are beautiful, that makes them popular and accepted by society. So, what they do? They associate drinking, drug, and smoking. So, they do that, but they also associate drinking, drug use, and smoking with also being sexy. Somebody would say, I think it's nice, talk about the drug abuse, the vaping, the edibles, we're talking. So all of these, it is trendy. They say it is trending. They say, oh, I think it's cool. They want to create a buzz. So they want to fit in with what society, what everybody is doing. And as I said earlier, it affects everybody, our bodies differently. So, we might not be, I might not be as lucky as somebody else, that takes these substances. So, the message that we want to send, to young people, and, we all have to come a part of it, share these things on our status, post them and so forth, say no to drugs. That's the sign. Say no to drugs. So as we, look at these things, let us take them seriously. And, I think we have some schoolers here. Academic pressure is another reason why people, would abuse drugs and so forth. All right, so I think I am going to stop there. I have chat over my time, Mr. Gibson. Okay, all right. Okay. I don't know if you want me to ask the questions or you want to ask the questions and so forth. Thank you, Miss Ibang. Okay. All right. Thank you for having me, everyone.
Well, hello again, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us, and I trust that you have learned a lot from Miss Wright. Now, I have an icebreaker that I want one of you, my guests, to play with me. So it's a question game, right? So I ask a question and you answer with a question. If you answer the question that is asked, then you are out. Any volunteers? So the icebreaker, the little game is I ask a question, you answer with a question. The person who answers the question or repeats a question will be out. Any volunteers?
Go again for me, please.
Okay, Giovanni. Okay, Mr. in participating. All right, so it's a question game. The someone asks a question, you answer with a question. So, for example, what is your name? The person responds, "Where are you?" Or if the person's answer,
I
or if the person answered
understand.
and said, "My,"
Okay, got it.
are you hearing? Got
Clearly.
it? All right. So, Miss Scott and Mr. Edwards, would you like to go together? Miss
Why are
Scott?
we having this symposium?
All right, Giovanni. So you and Miss Scott is going together, right? Is he hearing me? He says, sure. In the chat, is your mic working? Are you able to open your mic? You able to open your mic, sir? Not at the moment. All right. So Miss Scott, anyone else would like to go with Miss Scott, or do I go? I want you guys to interact with each other, man. Come on. Miss Banks, you had your hand up. Would you like to go? All right. So Miss Scott, let's go. You and I. Are we ready? You still there? So we'll start after two. Two. Where are you? Tasia?
Why are we having this symposium?
Why are you asking that question? It has to be quick, man. Tasia? So it's a quick
Are we
fix.
having this symposium? Okay.
Internet? Tasia wasn't hearing you.
Why are we having this symposium?
Why are you asking that question?
Why are we having this symposium?
You are repeating the question, so then you would be out. Mr. Edwards, Miss Atkinson, who else is here? Alan,
Yes.
you want to try?
Oh,
There,
internet.
internet. All right, Miss
Somebody
Evans,
who has
you
stronger
want to
internet than I am.
go?
Because
Okay,
I live in
sure.
the bushes in Muslim.
Miss Evans, let's go. Are we ready? I saw Ibang's hand raised. So, oh, you don't understand? So, we are asking questions and answering with questions. If you repeat a question or answer the question asked, then you'd be out. All right, Miss Atkinson, let you and I go. What is Molly? Why are you asking that? Do you have a backpack? Why did you cut your hair? Why did you leave Jamaica? What color is your shoes? Who is your mom? Do you have a fridge? Why did you take drugs? Okay. All right. So, all right. So we have a question and it's a prized giveaway and I'm sure you would like this giveaway. So, the question is name the top 3 drugs that are most abused in Jamaica today. All
Me,
right.
me,
So I see, is it Gordon? That was the first hand raised. So let's see. Go ahead.
yes, Miss. Ganja, Molly, and cocaine.
Ganja, Molly, and cocaine. Miss Atkinson, are we giving her that one? Definitely. So, Miss Gordon, you will forward your telephone number to Miss Atkinson and you will receive some call credits. Awesome. Awesome. Congrats, Tunisia.
Thank you,
Okay,
Miss.
so moving on. You're welcome, darling. So moving on with our program, Miss Atkinson, over to you. Uh, Miss Atkinson, I think Miss Johnson's hand is raised, so she's back online.
Good evening. Yes, I am. Sorry about that. Yes, good evening. I am well. All right. Thank you so much. As you have stated, I have a series of questions. I have written down 4 questions here. I am going to go ahead and tell you them. If you don't mind, you write them down and then I'll listen to the answers. All right. So, my first question is, as a concerned parent and teacher, what are some signs or symptoms I can look out for in my students or in my children to know they are abusing drugs? And another question that I have, what are the side effects of substance abuse? I also have, what are the consequences of using or abusing illegal substances? And my final question is, where can I get help? How do I cope as a parent? Right. So those are my questions. I'm going to mute and I'm going to listen as you answer.
All right, Miss
Thank you so much.
Atkinson, just before you go into answering those questions, if there is anyone else here with questions or similar questions, you can leave them in the chat and we hope to provide assistance in any way to you. Also, a handout would have been given to you You can use that as a guide as well. And Ms. Atkinson, you may proceed now.
No, Miss.
No, but I am not surprised because they have them as sweets and all of that.
they will face the full effect of the Dangerous Drugs Act, which prescribes a number of penalties for offenses under the legislation. If it is, for instance, that they are caught with these dangerous drugs at the airport, the offenses can range from dealing to possession and to taking steps to export and conspiracy to export. If they are caught in locations not designated as ports of entry or exit, then they can be charged with dealing, possession as well of dangerous drugs, and that is a recordable conviction for persons above the age of 18. What that effect means, in effect that means is that persons will have a criminal record. It will affect their ability in the future to get employment, where a criminal record, a clean criminal record is important. It will affect their ability to travel overseas, because if you need a visa, for example, you would have to disclose on the requisite form that you have a previous conviction. And even if you don't, there are means and ways of checking. If you want to become a member of the security forces, again, it would be a bar to such an application in the way of success. So the implications are very serious. You may be convicted and you may not go to prison. You may get a suspended sentence, but that is not it alone, because in future, when you are looking to broaden your horizons, whether in terms of employment, traveling, or specific discipline in the way of, for instance, law, these are things that will present themselves as an impediment to your advancement.
But it's not only the youngsters using the drug who face the possibility. Champagne points to the legal dilemma parents may find themselves in if their underage children are caught with any illegal drug.
Under the Child Care and Protection Act, I believe it's Section 9, parents or guardians can be charged for willful neglect of children. So if it is that the circumstances are of such where the police is of the view that it was as a result of sheer neglect while the child is under these circumstances, then the parent or guardian can be charged. In relation to the child himself or herself, underage, they'll go to the family court, the children's court. They will be there. It is very inconvenient. It is embarrassing in terms of the whole process, not in terms of the treatment necessarily, but just the experience is not a pleasant one. Nobody wants to be in court, whether you're a child or an adult. It's not a comfortable situation. And in those circumstances, you run the risk of being sent to a reform institution, or you may be put on probation. Mind you, these would not be recordable conviction, but certainly in the way of full disclosure when you're applying to go to the university overseas or elsewhere, the question may be, have you ever been charged for anything? And if you're true to yours, they will face the full effect of the Dangerous Drugs Act, which prescribes a number of penalties for offenses under the legislation. If it is, for instance, that they're caught with these dangerous drugs at the airport, the offenses can range from dealing to possession and to taking steps to export and conspiracy to export. If they are caught in locations not designated as ports of entry or exit, then they can be charged with dealing, possession as well of dangerous drugs, and that is a recordable conviction for persons above the age of 18. What that effect means, in effect that means is that persons will have a criminal record. It will affect their
Yes, Miss, I'm still here.
Greatest ways to teach our children how to cope with difficult situations is by modeling. If their parents or caregivers or church family or teachers were to demonstrate how to manage difficult circumstances, then our children are able to learn and they are then able to mimic similar responses as they get older. Take, for example, let's look at something like losing someone that you love to death. Someone dies. Sometimes adults might shy away from having a child see them cry, or they may feel uncomfortable expressing their sadness and their grief in the presence of a child. But if the child is able to see mommy or daddy or their caregiver or their sister or their brother crying, that child learns that it is okay to cry when I feel sad, that it's okay for me to express how I'm feeling because those around me will understand.
And she says it's equally important that people know and understand what coping mechanisms are. After all, that's the only way they can be effectively established.
Coping strategies are far and wide and may differ based on the situation. So for many of us here in Jamaica, a lot of us cope with problems by our faith. We pray, we read our Bible. Many persons will tell you, oh, I just pray. And that really is helpful because it's faith-based. Some persons talk to other persons about their difficult situations or their challenges. So
Miss Atkinson, I am here. I do apologize to our guests. I'm sorry about that. I was having a bit of internet challenges just now. But where can you get help? You can, there are a variety of agencies in Jamaica, some not known to many, that offer help to individuals who are having issues with drug addiction. So on screen, we have the logos of two organizations. However, I will touch on three organizations. So starting with RISE, and the acronym RISE is reaching individuals through skill and education. So this organization has a program that supports all those who previously carried out by the addiction alert in the organ treatment disorders and the emotional services for different persons in the community. So you know those youth or young men you'll see in the community on the corners, the RISE program or organization would target those persons and get them into skills training so that they may not turn to drugs. Because once they are on those shop corners, it is inevitable. They will be drawn to the older men who is smoking and all, and they will in turn turn to weed. Just leaving high school, they would be out there on the streets, not in school, because high school is it for most persons. So RISE offer um, prevention and treatment, and also they try to get those persons into skill training programs. Now, next is the National Council on Drug Abuse, and this is more known or popular to persons. However, I will give you some insights on the National Council on Drug Abuse. So the NCDA, National Council on Drug Abuse, they live by the motto prevention better than cure. And I hope you understand why this organization would really use this as their motto, because to prevent something, you know, it's really cheaper and easier than to cure. Because if you're preventing someone from smoking and drinking, to cure the causes to include cancer, respiratory, and other respiratory issues, then that's a lot of money with chemo and all of that. So prevention is better than cure. To have a lot of persons being addicted to drugs, that may lead to them stealing money to get the drug and all of that. So the NCDA offer a variety of services. So the concerned NCDA, it's totally free of cost. They provide drug testing for your child. They offer drug counseling. So if you notice that your child or children would have started experimenting with drugs, you can nip it in the bud. Get them into counseling with a social worker or a representative from the NCDA, and they will counsel your child, get your child back on the right path to where you want them to be, which is to get a higher education and to contribute to society, right? They do research on different drugs and publish them in libraries all across the island, as well as the internet, right? They conduct drug treatment court. So some drug users conduct crime, and as a result of that, they provide drug court treatment. So they believe that persons in need of treatment should go to prison. Also, we have a child diversion program that is led by the Ministry of Justice. And this program seeks to steer young people away from delinquent behavior, engaging in drug, drinking, or any addictive, behavior. So they provide positive alternatives such as mentorship, vocational training, or admission into academic institution, behavioral therapy, and admission is normally granted through recommendation by law enforcement or caseworkers. Caseworkers can be your child's guidance counselor, or simply someone in the community who you know you can ask for help. So your teachers, the HFLE teacher, Miss Wright, could refer you to these persons. Also, if any member of the public is aware of a young person who needs guidance, they can always contact the National Council of Drug Abuse for help, as the child diversion program is also led under that organization. So those are three organizations that you can gain assistance from as it relates to drug addiction or drug abuse. So if you find that you are struggling to stop, you can get in contact with one of those organizations, and your little pamphlet would have the contact information for those organizations, and they do have different offices set up in different parishes or regions across the island. So that's where you can get help from the different organizations. Miss Atkinson, we carry on with the program.
Do you know, I know of the mustard seed communities that deals with drug abuse and other persons who are vulnerable and so forth. So those organization would have come under what is it, a non-governmental organization. They are voluntary organizations. So
Yes, they're
maybe
voluntary organizations.
right. So maybe some of those organization persons can, get information as to how to reach out to them, or how they can reach out to you if you find yourself, or somebody in a situation where they are abusing drugs and so forth, for them to really get help. Because some of these advocacy groups and these non-governmental and voluntary groups, they do a good job in helping to curtail certain social issues that we are faced with in Jamaica. So you could probably give some more information, or probably we all can do some more research in terms of finding out what they do and so forth.
And there we have it. Miss Atkinson, a good maybe my
Yes, miss.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. The Pressure by Peyton Reed, Ataria Drummond, and Mahela Drummond. The pressure is real. The pressure is real. More feel like me make a deal with the devil. And every time I pray for your blessing. The pressure is real. Your mental health, I'm not joke. Don't try smoke. We know you're under pressure, but you have to try cope, eh? As a dolly. You can't pop Malial celebrity. Them a smoke, them a coke, them all a choke. The mental health it must up. And we as young stand up the clash up. The pressure is real. The pressure is real. All last night, Mr. John wife overdo a spark crackers that run wild. Talk to the man, this wouldn't happen. Talk to the man or something. Such mental health never good. But she did it. I want it all good. Me said the pressure is real. You feel your blessing. The pressure is real. The pressure is real. Good evening.
No, my hand was up initially. I'm sorry. Let me take it.
Yes, Miss. So I have a comment. So I am saying that this presentation was well prepared. It opened my mind to understand why I should say no to drugs and how saying no will benefit me.
That's so nice.
I attend the Hampton School, A26, form teacher, Miss Atkinson.
Oh, and that's why you want you have your students so you want I like that. Okay, Shawana. I'm glad that you were enlightened there. Continue to say no to drugs.
Good afternoon, everyone. Miss, all I have to say, this presentation was really nice, and I learned so much from this presentation. Um, I will keep on saying no to drugs as usual. No drugs. Be happy. Talk to someone when you're in need or in anxiety or none of that. Do not do drug. Do not do drugs normally. It is not good, guys. It is not good.
All
But
right,
anyways,
Rana.
Miss, I learned. Yes.
Rana. So it sounds like I did really a listen, man. Let me ask you one simple question. Name one organization where you can get help.
Miss,
She gone.
Miss, we never did I listen. Miss, I cannot remember, but I know that you can go to the guidance counselor and so forth, and you can go to your HFLE teacher, and she will um give you advice on who to go to. But I'm not really sure on who on the organizations. I was not
Okay.
listening at that point.
Okay, you were not in the meeting at that point. All right, thank you.
You're welcome, Miss.
She is. She knows where to go. Yeah, most definitely. She knows where to go. I am. Don't worry.
Miss, I was asking if will there be any more questions asked?
Come on, win prize. All right, Miss Atkinson, can you find a question for her? It's phone card in a Shawana. You want credit?
Yes, Miss.
Everybody want credit, right? All right. So go ahead, Miss Atkinson. Give her a question.
Miss. Eh, mm,
Mm-hmm.
yes, Miss. Yes. Weed, marijuana. You're welcome, Miss.
Some persons have already received in their WhatsApp, Miss Atkinson, so you're well on the way with that. Okay.
Miss, can I say something, Miss? Miss, y'all are so pretty.
Mm. So thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Okay.